Grand Carnival is a special time at Kings Island involving food and international festivities. I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics. Don, Grand Carnival season. That is one of my favorite times of year. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I think that Kings Island does Grand Carnival very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique experience. It's really a festive atmosphere. You spend your time really around International Street, where you don't spend most of your day. Once you come into the park, you're off riding rides and watching shows, and that you normally don't come back up unless you're going to grab a bite to eat or head back out. So it's an opportunity to really experience the park, and it's more in the evening, so that nighttime experience as well too. You see the fountains, you see all the decor, you get to watch the shows that they have for Grand Carnival, and then there's the spectacle of color parade, and that's spectacular.
Oh yeah, the Spectacle of Color Parade is one of my favorite things. Grand Carnival, this is for 2023. It's going to run July 22nd through April 6th. Usually kicks off right around the evening, around 5 o'clock, and they have an opening ceremony, or at least they have in the past. But the countries that are represented are China, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. So very, very cool. It looks like they kind of changed them up a little bit because I remember there being an India section in past years, but I guess that's part of the allure is you switch around the countries and stuff. Um,
Yeah, you mix it up a little bit, and it really does give you an opportunity to sample food from those countries. Myself, I pretty much, when I was experiencing the event as a guest, stuck with what I knew, which was Italy.
right.
So I stayed with the Italian food, but really, really well done. And the park's culinary team does a great job, putting it together, and it's just really a way that families can experience the park in a different way. There's so much to see, so much to do, when you're at Grand Carnival. For the kids too, there's like different
Hmm.
crafts, there's unique activities. Uh, just, really a grand celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember there being a scavenger hunt. I've actually done the scavenger hunt at two different parks. I've done it at Kings Island several times, and I did it at Kings Dominion's Grand Carnival last year. So that's marketed towards kids, but it also works for big kids like me too. So really, really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. I'm too excited to talk about the parade to like put this off. The Spectacle of Color Parade. What's your favorite part of it?
I think just the immersiveness of it. I mean, it is, like Disney caliber. It looks the floats are just decorated so well. The street performers, really get into
Hmm.
character. You get to become, you're invited to become part of it, where they have different stops along the way, so the guests have a chance to be part of it. The performers really interact well with the guest. Uh, so that's really, my favorite aspect of it is the parade, just like it is for
Hmm.
you. There's it starts down by when you come out from under the racers, like if you're going to go back and ride
Yeah, Area
Orion, so
72.
back there, yeah, Area 72 is where it comes out, and then it turns down Coney Mall, and then by the Coke Marketplace, kind of turns up toward International Street. Uh, you want to kind of get your spot early. It's not something you want to show up, 5 to 10 minutes before the parade's going to start. So get your spot early. Maybe 45 minutes to an hour early. Just camp out, get your spot, get ready for the parade. Have your camera ready. A lot of great photo opportunities when the parade's going by.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in addition to the things that you mentioned, I really like the lights on the floats. I've gushed over this
The
before,
lights are great,
but the
yes.
lights are pixel mapped, and they're on a time code, so they actually, even though the float is not plugged into anything, the lights go with the music and stuff. And I think that's just the coolest thing ever. And then it ends.
And that song's going to stick in your head, right? That song that they do
I
during the
get that
parade.
song stuck in my head randomly still, and I haven't
Yes.
heard it in 2 years because they didn't do it last year because they had the 50th celebration. But the end of the show stops for the parade end with a big old shot of confetti, not confetti, it's streamers, and it's so fun to see like especially little kids walking around with just giant handfuls of streamers because they love to hold that stuff. I think that's so fun. Um, but let's talk about the food a little bit. So they have tasting cards available. And obviously you want to check their website for information on that, but the food is international food, and it's in each section. So for example, in the Spain section you'd have Spanish food, or the Italian section you'd have Italian food, and so on. um, but you know I'm with you. I really like the Italy section. I wish I could remember the name of what they called it because they actually call it by its authentic name. But they had this thing that I really enjoyed, but kind of looked weird because because we're Americans and everything's weird that's not on our back door. But um, it was like a cone that was like a bread
Yes,
cone.
the cone.
What
Yeah, that was my favorite item. I love
I
that. I would try to
freaking
get that, a
I used
couple,
it
2, 3
I
times a
got
week
it
during
three
Grand
times
Carnival.
on my tasting card. I've always bought a tasting card. I don't know if this is necessarily always going to be true, but there's a season pass one that you can use more than one day, but you can use two in one day and so on. But um, yeah, I used it three different times, and it's like inside there was this little pasta that almost looked like giant larvae. Like it looked gross, but it was the most delicious thing ever, and that's totally what they're into in Italy, I guess. But I really enjoyed that. And in Germany with the pretzels with the beer cheese. Kings Island has the best beer
Oh,
cheese.
yeah, that was amazing too, the pretzel with the beer cheese. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that was really good. Now these tasting cards, Ryan, you got them, but they come in 2 different, ranges. There's a 6 taste and there's a 10
Hmm.
taste. But having experienced Grand Carnival the way you did, would you recommend getting the tasting card, or would you recommend just going up and trying it,
Oh no, you
just
have to
getting
get the
one item?
tasting card. You have
Yeah.
to. I mean, honestly, if especially if you're a season pass person with the meal plan or whatever, you're gonna have that debate. If you haven't done it, you have to. You have to try it. But especially if you're an individual ticket buyer, you don't necessarily have to spend all that money on a meal. You can get like a 6 or 10 tasting card, and you can feed probably a couple people with that within a day. I mean, the portions are taste, quote unquote, but they're also relatively fair portions. So I highly recommend it. I usually buy it the first day. And I just really enjoy it. I like trying on stuff, and every year they have a couple of things that are new. And then you get to try that, and from what I understand, it's pretty authentic. So, um, yeah, it's really cool. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
And the decor. Let's talk about
Let's
that.
talk about the
The
decor.
decor. When you come into the park's entertainment team just does a fantastic job of dressing up International Street for this event. I mean, so many different photo ops and things when you walk in, but it really, looks like a different place than Kings Island when you come in when you're experiencing this event.
Can you believe? I mean, I'm sure you saw it. just just like they did a fantastic job in years past, like a plus job. This year's even better. They have those beads all over the place. The core of the event, by the way, is kind of like a Mardi Gras theme. So it's
Yeah,
international, and Louisiana is kind of French, and maybe that's the tie-in. I'm not really sure, but so they throw beads and stuff from the Festival of Color parade, which is also really fun to see people freak out over that. But the decor this year has been incredible. Now, I haven't been to the park in a couple weeks, which is very strange for me since I did my Disney trip and so on. But I looked on the webcam and I saw there's even more stuff like in the front of the park. Like the decor is just so awesome. It's so immersive. What a special time of
yeah,
year.
I'm seeing guests, post photos every day on social media, and just really doing a great job, showcasing the different decor that's around the park for this event, especially right in front, where they have the Kings Island ID sign in front of the fountain. That looks phenomenal.
Yeah, and then the other thing, let's not forget the show on the bandstand. Is it Hot Island Rhythms? Is that what they called it in years past? Or Island Rhythms, something like that?
Yeah, it was like Island Rhythms, but it was a little bit of it's pretty much, the same performers that you would see on the bandstand show during the season, but they just have a different, song set and things that they work with. Uh, but it's built, either like right after the parade, I think is when it normally would start, and it would go through the end of the night. But that was a good place, that you would have a lot of guests and things gathered there. There's a lot of, the dancing in the street. It's really a street party
Oh,
right there.
yeah, I love the vibe. Actually, it was funny. For those of you who are listening to this, we're recording this before our episode on the Magic Kingdom on the Attractions Group podcast. But it's ironic that David, who's a regular on our show, has been on here several times. I remember him texting me 2 years ago, or maybe it was the first year of Carnival, and he said, "I'm at Kings Island. They're doing Carnival. International Street has Magic Kingdom energy." And
Oh, it does. It does.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
And that's why you got to go experience this event, because it does give you that chance. It's not just another night, at the park. If you're a pass holder and you go 50, 60, 70 times a year, it's totally different experience during this run.
I remember the first year of Carnival. I remember you making fun of me because I didn't miss a night of it. I went to every single night. Well, no, I take that back. The first year I went, I heard that they were going to do a dry run of the parade on a certain night,
Hmm.
so I went to that. So I got to see the parade, and then I was in a bachelor party for a wedding I was in on the first night, but it got rained out, so it doesn't. They didn't do any of Carnival. All right, so not the parade, just nothing. And then I went to every single night. And then the next year when it came back, I remember you gave me a hard time because I was going to be at Dollywood for like 4 days in the middle of Carnival, and you made fun of my poor planning. Which I admit in
Yeah.
hindsight I probably was in the wrong, so I apologize for snapping at you. But yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, the show I think the show is generally a little bit more high energy than what you have on the bandstand all the time. Not that the bandstand shows are bad; they're fantastic. But this one's got a lot of crowd participation and stuff. The performers really get into it. And my favorite thing, I don't know if they'll do this year, but in the past, what they've always done is they've had every performer that's a dancer, which is the vast majority, get up on the stage and all do the Grand Carnival song and dance as the fireworks are going off to close the night. I thought that was the most freaking magical thing ever, except for the parade. The parade's still my favorite, but that was the coolest, like, gave me chills thing every night. This year, they'll probably close Carnival before the fireworks because the fireworks are particularly special. I don't know what they have planned as far as the fireworks are concerned, but it, that's just such a cool way to end the night, and it gives you chills, and you just don't want to go home. You never see the park in that way again. It's almost like Winterfest, and we will be addressing Winterfest at some point, probably when it gets colder. But it's almost like I don't know if I could go back to a normal theme park after seeing this, because it's so special.
Well, it definitely is a different, like we talked about, a different way to experience the park. It's fun, it's memorable, it works for guests of all ages. Food's fantastic, great entertainment. You don't want to miss it.
Absolutely. So performers, decor people, food people, operations people, everybody involved. We want to thank you in advance because what a great show, and it's definitely appreciated. All right. So if you want to listen to more of this, then make sure you listen to us on all your favorite podcast apps. Just search for Tower Topics. And we're also on YouTube searching for Tower Topics. Follow us on Twitter at Tower_Topics. Thank you so much.